Have you ever noticed that after everything you survived, the strangest loss isn't them, it's you? The version of you that trusted easily, loved openly, and didn't second-guess every feeling. And sometimes a quiet thought slips in that you don't say out loud. I don't recognize myself anymore. If that thought landed in your body, you're not failing healing, you're in it. By the end of this video, you'll understand what the final stage of the empath really looks like after narcissistic abuse, why your system changed the way it did, and what to do next without becoming guarded or hard. Let's open two important loops right away. One is why you stayed, adapted, and kept giving even when it was damaging you. The other is the exact sentence you'll be able to say the next time your body freezes instead of speaking. Listen closely. The final stage of the empath is not bitterness. It's not emotional shutdown. It's not turning cold or suspicious. The final stage is clarity. Nervous system clarity. Emotional clarity. Self-trust clarity. And here's the part most people miss. After narcissistic abuse, confusion isn't weakness. It's your nervous system trying to make sense of a distorted reality. You replay moments. You question your memory. You wonder if you imagined the harm. That's what happens when gaslighting begins to wear off. Your system is recalibrating truth. Then something else shows up, a quiet anger, not explosive but firm. It might feel like sudden exhaustion, emotional distance, or a sharp awareness that you no longer want to explain anyone's behavior. And then comes grief. Not just for the relationship, but for the version of you that kept hoping love would eventually feel safe. Here's where the shift happens. The final stage begins when your body stops negotiating your worth, not your thoughts. Your body. Your chest doesn't open automatically anymore. Your energy doesn't rush to soothe. Your nervous system no longer confuses intensity with intimacy. At first, this can feel scary, like you're losing your ability to connect. But what you're actually losing is a survival pattern. Here's the pattern: interrupt. Think about how often you used to override discomfort to keep the peace, how often you explained someone's hurtful behavior instead of listening to your own reaction, how often you stayed longer than your body wanted to. That wasn't love, that was adaptation, and you didn't choose it consciously. Your nervous system learned it. Empaths often bond through emotional unpredictability because it feels familiar. Chaos can feel like closeness when calm was never safe. Narcissistic dynamics hook into that wiring. And when you leave or when the bond breaks, your system begins to change. You stop romanticizing confusion. You stop noticing that your body feels heavy around certain people. You begin craving quiet instead of intensity. Safety starts to matter more than chemistry. And this is where many empaths get scared, because this stage can feel lonely. Not because you're alone, but because you're no longer available for dynamics that once defined you. You're not attracted to being needed. You're not energized by emotional volatility. You're not willing to earn love through endurance. And there's often a moment where you wonder, am I becoming closed off? Here's the truth. You're becoming selective. Your system is learning discernment. And this is where boundaries stop being something you think about and start being something you think about and start being something you feel. Someone crosses a line, and your body reacts first. Tight chest, shallow breath, low energy. That's not fear. That's information. And this is where the new language begins. Instead of explaining or apologizing, you can say, that doesn't feel okay for me, and I'm not available for it. Or, I care about you, but I'm not responsible for managing your emotions. Or even, I'm choosing what's healthy for me, even if it's uncomfortable for you. Those sentences don't make you cold. They make you safe. Before we go further, I want to give your system something practical. A simple 1-minute reset for when guilt, freeze, or overgiving starts to take over. Gently inhale through your nose and let your belly soften. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Longer than the inhale. Drop your shoulders just a little. Press your feet into the floor. And inside, say, I am allowed to be safe and connected at the same time. Breath. Body. Sentence. That's how safety is relearned. Now check in with yourself as I ask these. Slowly, do I feel calm in my body around this person? Do I feel free to say no? Do I feel like myself here? Do I feel emotionally safe being honest? You don't need to answer perfectly. Your body already knows. The final stage of the empath is not losing your softness. It's losing the belief that love requires self-abandonment. It's the moment your empathy turns inward and your nervous system finally exhales. And in the next part, we'll talk about how to rebuild your sense of self after narcissistic abuse, how to trust your instincts again, and how to recognize healthy connection when it shows up. Stop. At this stage, something quiet but powerful is happening inside you. You're no longer asking, how can I be better so this works? You're asking, does this actually work for me? And that shift alone changes everything, because now your attention is moving back into your body, back into your values, back into your own life. Rebuilding yourself after narcissistic abuse doesn't start with confidence. It starts with safety. Your nervous system has been trained to stay alert, to anticipate mood shifts, to scan for danger. So when things feel calm, your body might mistake that for boredom. This is where many empaths get pulled back into familiar chaos. And here's the part that matters. Calm is not emptiness. Calm is regulation. Healthy connection feels steady. It doesn't spike your adrenaline. It doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't require you to prove your worth. At first, this can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. So instead of asking, do I feel excited? A better question becomes, do I feel excited? A better question becomes, do I feel at ease? This is how you begin trusting yourself again. Not by overanalyzing, but by listening to your body's signals and respecting them. When something feels off, you don't rush to override it. You pause, you breathe, you check in, and you allow that information to matter. Here's another pattern: interrupt. Notice how your standards are changing. You're less impressed by charm, less tolerant of inconsistency, less willing to explain away behavior that doesn't align with words. This isn't judgment, this is clarity. And clarity is what allows your empathy to stay intact without being exploited. You may also notice grief resurfacing here. Grief for the time you lost. Grief for the energy you gave. Grief for the version of you that believed love had to hurt. Let that grief move. It's not pulling you backward. It's releasing what no longer belongs to you. Now let's talk about identity. Narcissistic abuse erodes self-trust because your reality was repeatedly questioned. So rebuilding identity means practicing one simple thing over and over again. When something feels wrong, you believe yourself. When something feels right, you allow it. No debate, no justification. This is where your voice changes. You speak more slowly. You explain less. You don't rush to be understood. And when someone doesn't respond well to your boundaries, you don't collapse. You observe. Their reaction gives you information, not instructions. Here's something grounding to remember. Healthy people don't need you to abandon yourself to stay connected. They may feel disappointed, but they won't punish you. They won't guilt you. They won't withdraw affection to regain control. And if they do, your system will recognize that as a signal, not a challenge. This is also where your empathy matures. Instead of feeling responsible for everyone's emotions, you allow people to have their own experience. You can care without rescuing. You can love without overextending. You can be kind without self-erasure. And yes, there may be moments where you miss the intensity, the fast bonding, the feeling of being chosen. When that happens, gently remind yourself that urgency is not intimacy. Consistency is. Presence is. Respect is. Let's return briefly to your body. When you're with someone new, notice how your breath moves. Notice whether your shoulders relax or rise. Notice whether you feel expanded or contracted. Your nervous system has become your ally now. It's no longer something you need to override. This is the final stage of the empath after narcissistic abuse. Not armor. Alignment. Not hypervigilance. Awareness. Not shrinking. Self-respect. You don't need to announce this transformation. You don't need to explain it. The right people will feel it. They'll meet you where you are. And the ones who can't will slowly fall away, without drama, without force. And here's the relief in all of this. You get to belong to yourself first. When you do, belonging with others no longer feels like a risk. It feels like a choice. In the next video, we'll talk about how to recognize emotionally healthy partners and friendships after narcissistic abuse, and how to let connection grow without abandoning yourself again.